Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Long Beach Island, New Jersey, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator in New York at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. And welcome back from Colombia, Mr. Kaustubha. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Raghunath.
How are you, Prabhu? We missed you yesterday. We had an incredible, if you missed yesterday's Sunday show, you got to check it out. Right, Mary? You loved him, right?
Yeah, it was amazing.
I got so
I
many
heard it was great.
so much positive feedback.
Oh,
The guy was
I got all positive when I wasn't there, did it, Raghunath? I'll tell you, had so
it
much
all got
fun
positive
when I
when
wasn't
Kaustubha
there.
left. Go figure. Everything went smooth and easy. No one was cutting me off and chastising me.
You're unleashed to the world.
Oh no, Amarancha Prabhu is so great. If you missed it, check our YouTube account or check wherever you get your podcasts, because this guy was a treasure chest of Vedic wisdom. It was just programming his brains. He's like, yes, there's 5 Gitas in the Krishna, in the 10th canto, and there's many Gitas in the Bhagavatam, and the blah, 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 blah. It was just like one little nectar nugget after another.
Wow.
Really beautiful. Guy knows
There's
so
what,
much.
The Gita of the song, the song of the bee, right?
Song of the Bee, the Song of Gopi, Song of the Flute. Oh, the
Song
Gita
of the
Gopi.
Flute.
This right.
Many
Many songs.
Gita comes later. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna check that out. I'm looking forward to it. And I just want to make sure that you didn't misbehave in any way.
I wasn't misbehaving. Mara checked on me.
I spent the entire day, like it felt like I spent the entire day in the airport. I was coming back. I left very early from Cali, Colombia. And then my flight, my switch over flight or whatever.
They call it a layover flight in the travel world.
My layover, my connecting flight just kept getting like delayed, like all day.
See, Kaustubha, you don't have children. Okay. See, when you have children, and people can confer with me, when you have children, layovers are like, yeah,
really?
Woo, layover, another hour of freedom.
Oh, before getting back to them.
Yeah, it's like I love layovers because when I get home, it's like kids. It's like his layovers for me. I take extra time in my layovers. I was like, I'll take a 5-hour layover. Great. It's 5 hours a piece.
Well, I'm tired this morning, but you know what? That trip to Colombia, it was amazing because like it happened out of nowhere. It was like, my tooth was aching and suddenly it was like, I better take care of this before I go to Italy. But when I got there, after I look back on it now, I could, you know what it feels like? It feels like Krishna's moving me around. He brought me there for many different reasons.
Okay, so yeah,
meeting people,
externally it was the tooth, but there were internal reasons.
Big time, yeah, big time. Maybe the biggest one was meeting Simon Haas, who was just, I'd heard about him. I'd heard that his books I've heard so many people say they read his books, and they were just really moved and impressed by them. And I was always thinking, I got to read those books, but I got, it's hard for me to set aside time to read. It's just I'm reading books like, it's just my schedule. It's hard to fit in. Anyway, I'm going to read them now. And I was very impressed. He's a real scholar, a real Vaishnava, a real Bhakti-yogi scholar. Really insightful, gave great presentations. But you know what? He was very humble. That's not
Makes
always
all the
there with
difference.
scholars. Yeah,
Makes all the
he was
difference.
like a real gentleman, a very humble devotee, a really sweet guy. I felt like I made a really good friend there, and so we definitely gotta bring him on the show sometime soon.
Okay, you know what? I have
Simon
one of his
House.
book. I have
Yeah.
one of his books on Audible, so I'm going to listen to it on my way home because I'm
You
driving
got
back.
which one? There's
I
two.
can't.
He's got two books. One's called The Dharma Code, and one's called The Dark Night of the Soul.
It can't be
And
Dark Night of the Soul. That's like an old book.
no, that's not a Dark Night. Dark Night of the Soul is the phrase goes back, but he
Oh, the
wrote a book
phrase
called The
goes
Dark.
back. Acha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, but he wrote a book called. I also, it's such a beautiful community there in Shamashram in Cali,
Yeah.
Colombia, because he was doing programs. It was like a retreat, and it had a program every evening with him that opened up to the public. And so every night, yeah, it had like I don't know 60 people there. So it was a beautiful party every night. South American people are just so nice, Colombian people, just good people.
That was just a
Sweeties.
massive generalization, Prabhu. I'm sorry to
Well,
say.
I'm going to throw it out there.
South
I don't
American
care.
people are nice. Come on.
They are. They
That's like
really
saying
are.
all Italians are. No, I'm just joking. It is. I know what you mean. It's the culture's warm. It's welcoming. I'm just
Yeah.
being a jerk this
Real
morning.
sweeties. Real
I'm
sweeties.
here live with Kelly Skinner and Dominique Moreno, our regular Zoomers.
I've
They're
been
here for
saying,
live.
I've been wanting to meet Dominique in I
You'll
met
never
her.
meet her because she's secretive. She's like all the people that are in Zoom. There's people on Zoom every day that never show their live face. They always show their photo face. I call them photo face Zoomers.
She's a photo face.
Photo
Zoomer?
face. She's a photo face Zoomer. You'll never meet her.
That probably means she's still like just lying around in bed at 5 a.m.
That could be it.
Yeah.
I'm just looking around. There's photo face Zoomers today.
But because we met on the flight. I think we met on we were on Kelly Skinner was on that flight too, right? You met her on that flight. The flight coming back from India just before COVID hit, right back in 2020.
Right.
And then we've been like connected on Wisdom of the Sages ever since, but never met personally. So I want to get together with Dominique and Kelly. And I think what the time to do it is this Wednesday at the Bhakti Center, because we're having a Wisdom of the Sages event party.
We're having a Wisdom of the
get
Sages
together.
party at the Bhakti Center this weekend. At what time does
I
it start? You want to give some info on that?
Yeah, it's a little confusing because you see, it's a festival that goes on for like 5 or 6 days every year, right?
You're the
It's a
one
swing
not allowed
festival.
to be confused. You got to give us the information.
I'm gonna give you the best I can. You see, I think it's at 6:30 every night. I know Thursday they're making it like they're advertising it as a big public event, and that's going to be like the coincide with the Thursday night kirtan. That'll be down in the temple room, and it begins at 6:30. And apparently, you need to register for that.
Okay.
But I don't think you need to register for the Wednesday, which we're doing, which is going to be up on the roof.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Malaki.
So I'll come back with more info tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure it's at 6:30. Just go ahead and plan on 6:30.
All right.
Get together.
Are you coming?
We should get Mara there.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I'll try.
What?
Oh, and you see, she's got. more
Look, I'm going to
important
be
things to
exhausted
do.
too. If I'm expected to drive back that night, Mara, you got to come with me.
Get Parmananda. We got to get Parmananda.
Yeah,
to
let's
come
get
down. He has to come
Parmananda.
down
We'll get
from
our whole
here.
little posse up there.
Yeah, and then maybe Dominic can come to that. Kelly Skinner, come on over. Where's she staying, in Jersey or in Vermont?
She's in Vermont.
It's a little far
Oh,
away.
she's we got this Bhakti
Jersey's
stock.
a
We're
little far
doing
away,
Bhakti
too.
stock this weekend. If anyone's out there,
Oh,
Bhakti
okay.
stock
Bhakti
in
stock.
Vermont. I'm excited for it. Skinnergy's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Krishnadas is going to be there. Rupa and Kumari. I'm going to be singing with those guys.
Mm-hmm.
We love them. Yeah, bhaktistock.com.
Oh,
can check that out.
by the way, if people go to the Bhakti Center on the Thursday, right, and go for that same event on the Thursday, Kumari's doing a dance on that evening too, and I'm going to speak at length on that evening. But
let's just go Thursday then.
no, we're set up for Wednesday. We go every night. It's like, come on.
Okay. All right.
But you're going to lead kirtan on Wednesday, and I'm going to speak a little bit, and I think we ought to try to broadcast that live on Patreon. So
Yeah.
let's
By the
try
way,
to figure
just
that one out.
just curious if you're on Zoom, put up on the board if you're going to go. Just curious.
Okay.
Just curious.
Otherwise, you're not going to go unless your
Yeah.
people are there, unless you're fans.
Unless my people are there, I'm not going. Just me and Kaustubha's clapping the kirtans. Me and Kaustubha and Mara's like sleeping. I'm exhausted.
All right.
All right. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready to wind up this thing? Start up this thing.
Yeah, I'm right.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam madire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being. I forgot to ask about Narayan Rishi yesterday. The supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmidam Nina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay. Tell me the truth, Raghunath. Did you miss me just a little bit yesterday?
Are you kidding?
Were you like, oh, it's not the same with Kaustubha? Or were you just like, this is great?
Dad's gone. Woo! Party, invite your friends over. Ask about aliens. I didn't ask about aliens. I didn't ask about Narayan Rishi. I didn't ask about
Maybe
UFOs.
you tried to behave yourself because I wasn't there. You're like, I better behave. Mara's nodding. She's like, yep, he had a...
Mara's like, I'm taking notes. Gonna report back to Dad.
By the way, it looks like Vegan Trucker, Sean Murphy Vegan Trucker's coming down on Wednesday.
Right.
Jerry's coming over. So people are gonna be there.
Sherry and Vegan Trucker are the only ones dancing in the kirtan. Just kidding.
How's your brahmachari assistant doing, by the way? How was his stay with
we had a great kirtan last night, and he sang, and well, he didn't sing, but he just sing. We called him out to sing, but it was me and Madhu, and
Madhu was there.
The Naked Viking was there, Jeff Eisenberg and Stephen Triolo, and
oh man, nice.
Prema, and it was great. It was great. It was a huge. That's how we went to bed last night, dancing and singing, and Madhu was.
But how was Dr. Justin's day living in an ashram?
He went from living in an ashram to watch my kids at the beach. He's good. He's a transcendentalist.
Okay, my light just went out.
He's packing up right now because we were taking off and heading home this morning right after the show.
Okay, but it was a good experience for him. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like,
the temple, yeah, it was.
Man,
it was. He had a good time. Yes, he had a good time living in that Harinam ashram, and yeah. Okay, are you ready?
Sort of.
Are you lost? Okay, so
no, I'm just trying to fix my light.
Okay. Okay, here we are. We are at Conversations. We are in Canto 3, Chapter 21, Text, Mara. Remember that text, Mara?
Yeah, the last one we did was text 4.
Oh, text 4.
Text
what episode
5.
is this, Mara?
513.
13. We're working on 500 now.
All right. How many offspring did that great yogi beget?
We need a little context here, Raghunath. It's a
context, all right.
You're just throwing in how many offspring did that great yogi
Offspring
beget?
from yogis and princesses. What? Mystical princesses. That's where we left off, remember?
I do remember. So, yeah, we have a conversation. This is old history now. This is how it's talking about how the universe was populated, but it's it really has to do with it's all building to certain conversations that we need to hear. And the big one that's going to fill up a lot of the rest of the third canto is a conversation between Kapila Dev, who's an avatar of Lord Vishnu, right? It's Lord Vishnu himself, takes birth from this yogini named Devahuti. So Swayambhuva Manu is just, in describing the history of the universe, the appearance or the birth of Swayambhuva Manu becomes like real important. He's the son of Lord Brahma, so he's like, a very early being. Mm. But his daughter is going to marry this. It was mentioned, I think, in text 4 that she was like an accomplished yogini. Maybe it was a text 3, something like that. And no, it was text 4. It was mentioned that she was endowed with eightfold perfection in the yoga principles. So she's already like a super qualified yogini. Cardinal Muni is like this super empowered yogi himself. And this is like a arranged marriage Tuesday going on way back then, where Swayambhuva Manu, he's trying to arrange. He wants yogi for his daughter, and so he's found Kardama, and together these two yogis give birth. You know, the avatar Lord Vishnu takes birth from them, and then there'll be conversations that takes over chapters about yoga and especially about bhakti yoga in the conversation between Bhuti and Kapila Dev. So now Vidura is asking Maitreya on sage level 3, all about these people, how about their offspring and about Kardama Muni and about Devahuti, and so we're building up for some big stuff.
All right.
All right.
Text 4. How many offspring did that great yogi beget through the princess, who is endowed with eightfold perfection in the yogic principles? Oh, pray, tell me this, for I'm eager to hear it. I love that. Oh, pray.
Oh, pray, do tell.
Me. Oh, holy sage, tell me how the worshipful Ruchi and Daksha, the son of Brahma, generated children after securing as their wives the other 2 daughters of Swayambhuva Manu.
Yeah, so the other 2 daughters were Prashuti and Akuti. All right, there's Devahuti.
It's a thing in India, giving rhyming names.
It's cute.
It's cute. It is cute.
Yeah.
Until you grow up.
So he's asked now about the 2 sons, Priyavrata and Uttanapad, and now he's asked about the 3 daughters, Devahuti, Akuti, and Prashuti. Didn't rhyme the sons. I don't know what that's all about. Right? Why just rhyming the daughters? Could have rhymed the sons.
Well, we have our friends in Vrindavan, Brij Bihari, Krishna Bihari, and what's the other one? Kunja Bihari.
Oh, okay. So sometimes they do something like that. Okay, so
text 6.
Text 6.
The great sage Maitreya replied, commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in this world, the worshipful Kardama Muni practiced penance on the bank of the river Saraswati for a period of 10,000 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It's a very long time. You see, he lived in a different age. It's said that right, this is in the Satya Yuga that people had much. Remember how the whole Bhagavatam begins? Do you remember, Raghunath? Where does it begin? Where does it start?
It's eternal. You trying to stump me?
No.
With chronological
no.
stumps?
If you open up the book and start reading the book, where does it start? First chapter.
The offer obeisances to Vasudev.
Geographically, what place? Who are we dealing with?
Who are we dealing with? I can't think.
You just went into this party mode. I've gone and you just went into this party mode. Come on, the sages of Naimisharanya.
Yes. The sages of Naimisharanya. It's in a holy place. The Sutta Goswami speaks
some
to.
Holy place.
It's a holy, the whole place is a holy.
What is that pink drink you're ingesting this morning? I'm a little worried.
It's some like vitamin C tablet that explodes and turns into a fizzy vitamin C, just taking care of the immune system.
But what happens in that first chapter is the sages and they're, the dark age of the Kali Yuga is coming, the age that we live in today, and they're all like trying to do something, right? Some ritual, trying to do some form of, sacrifice, something to bring about auspiciousness going into this darker age, but they can sense it's not getting anywhere. And so then they turn to Sutta Goswami. This is sage level 1, right? Sutta Goswami speaking to the sages at Naimisharanya. And they mentioned to him that like this dark age is like, it's really going to be a mess. People are going to have short memories.
Oh yeah, short lives. This is where you're getting
short
to.
Lives. That's what I'm getting. Yes, you were wondering what I was doing, right?
I was wondering where you're going. So to live 100 years max, which there's not that many centenarians out there. To live 100 years max, we consider that like a long life. In actuality, from the previous yugas, it's a short life. Even when you read the Bible, right? Research how long like Abraham and Moses lived. They're like 700 years old.
What do you mean? They live to be 700?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every other person who doesn't like Christianity is like, that's crazy. This is, you believe in this, and we're like, yeah, totally normal. 700 years, and it's nothing.
Time is one of those things that's totally relative, and
200 years, Dragu.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
At least for Abraham.
Check Moses. I think he was older.
Okay.
But what the sages say is that they turn to Sutta Goswami, and they say, "O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, people almost always have but short lives. They're quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all,
Always disturbed.
always disturbed. Dented cans."
Yeah.
Right? People always disturbed. You know, I was dealing with that in the airport yesterday. Everyone's freaking out. You know, I felt like, you know, all this daily reading of Bhagavatam's granting me a little detachment. You know, like I just kind of, okay, it's going to be longer. Okay,
You're
it's gonna be
zooming
longer. But
you're
like,
zooming the hell out. You're like,
most
big deal.
people
It's
are
going to be over in
freaking
10
out.
years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah, right. But freaking out left and right. You know, it's just like you can't control it. So, you know, you bought into it. You knew this was a possibility. So
Yep.
just accept it, you know, make the best of it. So anyway, the idea here is Kardama Muni, he lived a very, very long life. And that meant that he had a long time to perfect his particular path of yoga, which isn't an easy path. And why don't we read the commentary on this here?
The commentary of 5,
Yeah, text 6.
the commentary of 6, or the text of 6?
Yeah. Well, we read text 6, didn't we? Did we not? Or maybe we didn't.
Once I read it, I'm gone.
Read text 6 and then read the
All right.
commentary.
The great sage Macharya replied, commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in the worlds, the worshipful Kardama Muni practiced penance on the bank of the river Saraswati for 10,000 years. So the Saraswati is where Badrinath is. That's where it comes from, up in where Vyasadeva wrote the Vedas, compiled the Vedas.
You know, when I was back in Kali, they took me to that waterfall, you know, way up there in the mountains. You've gone there, right?
Are you changing the subject right here?
No, I'm on the subject. You're talking about the Saraswati River, which is way up in the Himalayas, right?
A little bit different. It's the Saraswati River. You're just talking about a beautiful waterfall.
Well, I'm connecting them. Give me an opportunity to connect these two subjects.
Okay.
But you know, we went way up. Have you gone there? To that big, massive waterfall. Oh my God! As soon as I stepped into that place, I felt like I was on another planet. It was like so powerful. Like it's like this. You're up in the Andes Mountains, and it's really close to the Shamashram. Though it doesn't take long to get there, right? You drive about half an hour or so, and then you get to this like it's kind of like a national park, I guess. And then you get up and you start to walk, and it's the most beautiful path you can imagine. You know, going up in the mountains, and it's all a jungle and vines and beautiful plants and beautiful animals and stuff like that. What are you laughing at? Why are you laughing?
Laughing because I'm thinking about you in Central Park, and being
beautiful
like,
too.
It's like completely different.
In many ways, there's similarities. I go there for the same reasons, you know. But Central Park doesn't have a waterfall like that. I don't know how tall that thing is, but it's like it opens up and there's this waterfall coming down.
Yeah.
It's like hundreds of feet, and the power. It's almost like even if you're like a dull person, you just can't help but be like very impressed and feel the energy come, like the prana coming off of that waterfall. And you could feel like this is where the yogis went, right? They went off alone into these quiet places where the energy was like so uplifting. It's like it gives you like sattvic energy, right? Did you feel that when you were there?
Yeah, it's power. We all sat in meditation there.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, you feel like you want to meditate. It feels like it's easy to meditate there almost, right?
Exactly.
So what to speak of where Kardama Muni was, and he's up there in the Himalayas on the bank of the Saraswati River. The atmosphere is entirely conducive for what he's trying to do, and he's got a very long lifetime to be able to work at it. Whereas we're in this stage, we're living in, we create the worst atmospheres, these cubicles and with this neon lighting and this everybody's eating terrible food, and there's no prana in our lifestyle. It's like we're killing it left and right.
There's no prana in Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, there's nothing in there.
Nothing
that's
in
gonna help
there.
you. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know what? You go by a Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, the lines are out of control.
What
It's
are people doing?
unbelievable.
We should campaign against Dunkin'. Just don't go to Dunkin' Donuts, right? Just like
Yeah.
it's not going to help you. You know,
If you
stay
really
away from that
care
place.
about our, okay, let's
We
just
care about people.
Okay,
But the point is, if you're out there in that jungle, right? You just like there's fruits just like growing on and you just take one bite of those and it's like full of power. You know, they were living in a different world.
Stu is like inspired, Mara. You notice that today? He's like inspired. Got to get
Came
this
back
guy in
from
the
Colombia,
jungle more.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
So let's read more about Cardamom Mooney out there in the forest.
It is understood herein that Cardamom Mooney meditated in yoga for 10,000 years before attaining perfection.
Mhm.
Similarly, we have information that Valmiki Muni also practiced yoga meditation for 60,000 years before attaining perfection.
Valmiki.
Therefore, yoga practice can be successfully performed by persons who have a very long duration of life, such as 100,000 years. In that way, it is possible to have perfection of yoga. Otherwise, there is no possibility of attaining the real perfection. Following the regulations, controlling the senses, and practicing different sitting postures are merely the preliminary practices.
Okay.
We do not know how people can be captivated by the bogus yoga system in which it is stated that simply by meditating 15 minutes daily, one can attain the perfection of becoming one with God.
Okay.
This age of Kali Yuga is the age of bluffing and quarrel. Actually, there is no possibility of attaining yoga perfection by such paltry proposals. Well, that's a good one. Paltry proposals. It's almost a tongue twister. Paltry proposal. Paltry proposal. Paltry proposal.
That's a test for the it's a pop test for the pop guard on the mic. Paltry proposal. You like that one?
Yeah. The pop test. If people know what that is, you got to make sure you don't pop your peas with the microphone. So it's a test for the pop test, he said. That was funny, Kaustubha. Paltry proposals. The Vedic literature for emphasis clearly states 3 times that in this age of Kali, Kalo Nasteva Nasteva Nasteva, there is no other alternative. No other alternative than Harinama, chanting the holy name of the Lord.
We referred to that in the question and answer day the other day, right?
Yeah,
Someone
for
said,
sure.
Why is it said it's the only way?
This
But,
is you know, I think I think it's safe to zoom way out. There's people coming to the show and say, hold a second. These guys believe that people live for 100,000 years.
Okay, let's deal with that first.
Yeah, let's break that down. What do we know? We have no idea what life was like 200 years ago. Do you know that 200 years ago, let's go to 250 years ago. 250 years ago, you know what the roads look like in America?
I guess they look like dirt.
They look like dirt. They look like dirt. Where did you ever wonder how do you get around upstate New York when the roads are like covered in 4 feet of snow? Did you ever wonder about that, Kaustubha? How do you do that? How do people move when it's snowing? There's no snow plows.
They had animals that could walk through the snow.
You know what they did, Kaustubha? I'll tell
They
you.
had sleds.
They put that's the time they move things in upstate New York or in the countryside.
Yeah.
They switch out their wagon wheels for sled wheels, and they go faster.
And this proves that people lived for 10,000 years?
Yes, it does.
That's conclusive evidence. Where are you going with this, Raghunath?
My idea is like we have no clue what was happening 250 years ago. Okay. What to speak of 1,000 years ago. What to speak of like the quality of life. I mean, I'm looking at this thing right now. Like I said to Mara, she didn't even write me back. Mara, let's put this out there. When I send you important information, you got to acknowledge it. Listen to this. Sorry. The lost continent of Kumari Kundan. According to many of the ancient extant, I don't know what that means, Tamil literature of South India, and some of the Sanskrit literature, Kumari Kundan is the legendary sunken continent, which was ruled by the Pandyan kings for thousands of years before getting submerged by the Indian Ocean. All you got to do is study the architecture of ancient cultures of South America, Central America, Egypt, these ancient sites in India. These guys are geniuses the way they built things. They still can't figure how Stonehenge was built. They built it with cranes. They couldn't redo it. It's sort of like this tongue and groove. It can't build that stuff.
It was
My
aliens.
point is, we
No,
don't know what's going on back then.
it was the aliens. They
It
did
was something. It was something. We can't just write it off as just like, well, they figured it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a whole nother world back there. Maybe people could live it. We don't know. We don't know anything. We have no clue how to build a pyramid. We can't figure this stuff out. These mega monolithic buildings of the ancient world. Mara, back me up here because she was giving me the blank face.
No, I'm with you, Mara. Go ahead, back him up if you want, if you wish. You don't have to. You could counter him.
Just
if
back me
you
up,
feel
Mara.
like his. But so what's happening here? So there's a point to this, and Prabhupada says, it was an interesting sentence here he had, right, where he's saying, where was it? He said it's otherwise there's no possibility of obtaining the real yoga, but following the regulations, controlling the senses, practicing the different sitting postures are merely preliminary practices, right? Like, in other words, just because I'm doing some asana doesn't mean I'm going to have some deep kind of spiritual transformation. These are preliminary processes. They lead up to deep levels of absorbed meditation. And he says, we do not, and then he says this is the one that gets me, right? We do not know, because Prabhupada, he's 70 years old, right? Born and raised in a deep yoga tradition, comes to the Western world where, you're thinking, like technologically and everything back in India, we're nowhere close to like where the United States is, which is like this world leading nation. People there are really sophisticated. They're really intelligent. They're, they're a few steps ahead of everyone.
In the 60s too, which we weren't,
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
dictaphones. We have
But even cars, like they had hardly any cars in India, back
I know.
then.
Isn't that
Right.
weird? When we were going to India, there was like one type of car.
I
The white
still love that
ambassadors.
car. I love the
I love that
ambassador.
car
I wish
too.
they would bring those back. They're so much nicer than the cars.
I'm going to put it on the board.
the
All right, keep
ambassador.
talking. Yeah, because they're cool.
So he's expecting that people are going to be like skeptical of any kind of like in other words, like in a village in India where people like kind of like simple and uneducated. Okay, I could get it if they got fooled by some kind of charlatan that came around, some kind of bluffer or something like that, right? But not those Americans.
Right.
They're well educated and everything. But he comes here and he finds Americans just like buying into stuff that he's like, really? So he says, we do not know how people can be captivated by the bogus yoga system in which it is stated that simply by meditating for 15 minutes daily, one can attain the perfection of becoming one with God. He's like,
It does help. 15 minutes of meditation helps.
It
But
helps. but the point is, it's a serious life investment that you gotta change your habits, you gotta change your attitudes, you invest long amounts of time, and that particularly that yoga system is very difficult in this age where we have very short lives. Getting back to the sages of Naimisharanya, so Prabhupada's saying is he saying that you can't benefit from these things? He's not saying you can't benefit from doing some asana, that it's not a good thing. He's not saying that doing 15 minutes of meditation a day isn't a great thing. But he's saying to achieve the goal of yoga, it requires like a serious commitment.
hey, if you're getting benefits from 15 minutes of meditation, imagine what hours and hours of meditation, applying the yoga practice to your life all day long before we were when we were unencumbered by all the stuff of this world.
Right. Or the Bhagavad Gita is showing how, and the path of Bhakti Yoga is showing how you can turn your entire day, your entire life, even your social and family responsibilities into yoga, right? So that they're no longer distractions from yoga, but they become part of your practice of yoga. And then you accompany that with the Yuga Dharma, right? The chanting of the holy name. And that way, everything that you're doing in the day is making you a better person. It's transforming you, right? Even like you're stuck in an airport. You can't go. Everyone else is freaking out, but you're practicing your yoga, right? You're saying, okay, let me be more like a yogi. And all of that, whether what you're doing at work, whether it's what you're dealing with in society, whether it's how you're caring for your family, you're applying these thoughts and these principles, these ideas. It's transforming your character. It's making your mind more settled. Therefore, when you go and chant that name, that mantra, which is designated for this age as the particular Yuga Dharma, you're absorbing it far more deeply. Now you guys can really work and transform you, even in this very short life of 100 years.
You can transform.
Sure. Yeah. You can
Transformation is an option. If we can take a cauliflower and turn it into a pizza crust, you can transform in this lifetime. All right, let's continue on, sir.
Text 7 is interesting too.
By the way, Mara says Noah lived 950 years.
Okay.
So he was up there too. And I put the Hindustan ambassador on the board. By the way, if you want to join us live on Zoom, you could do it. It's fun. It's fun. You just got to email Mara, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com, and then you can join this little Zoom party. All right.
Oh, by the way, while you're making announcements, the sixth edition of the Sage Page comes out today.
The Sage Page. All right.
That's our weekly newsletter that's got all kind of cool announcements. It's also got like tidbits, takeaways, nuggets from the previous week.
Tidbits, takeaways, and nuggets. Tidbits, takeaways, and nuggets.
So if you want to register for the Sage Page, you go to wisdomofthesages.com, sign on up, and you'll receive it. Relax.
What a niblet. During that period of penance, the sage cardamom, by worship through devotional service in trance, propitiated the personality of Godhead, who is the quick bestower of all blessings upon those who flee to him for protection.
Okay, so he took that time and he did a devotional type of meditation, right? Like a bhakti style meditative yoga practice.
Yeah.
Now, why don't we read the commentary on this? More about yoga. Today we're talking about like yoga and what's practical and what works.
All
And
right.
how
The significance of meditation is described here. Kardama Muni practiced mystic yoga, meditation for 10,000 years just to please the personality of Godhead, Hari.
So it had a focus, right? It wasn't just emptiness or something like that. It was like he was focused on satisfying God through this meditation, okay?
BTW, Hari is different than Hare. Like when we say Hare Krishna, it's different than Hari. Hari means the Lord. It means God. Hare is like...
is the vocative of Hara, which refers to the female energy of God. Right?
I think that's important to tell people because sometimes people say Hari Bol or it's Hari Bol. Just throwing that out there.
Well, you can
you want to write
too.
Hari Bol. What's that?
You can chant Hare too. Nothing wrong with that.
You can chant Hare. Yes, you can.
But the phrase is Haribol. Chant the name Hari. Yeah. What does Hari mean? Mara. Let's put her on the hot seat. This is a good one.
What does Hari mean, Mara?
Thief.
Ooh.
Okay. Nice. To take. One who takes away.
Hindi translation there.
Thief.
One who takes away.
But what does he take away, Raghunath?
Yeah. Takes away the butter, the clothing of the gopis, my heart.
Acha, your heart, right? Takes away all our suffering.
Takes away our pain in this world.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't trick
Are you referring to some song there? What that was some kind of...
No, those were...
No, but
butter?
Isn't that from a song that you like or something like that? Like he steals the butter, he steals the gopis.
Maybe.
Or maybe that's from Vibhav Harishisha Aloka Pravesha.
Okay, we gotta stay focused today, Kaustubha.
I'm focused exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm thinking about God. I'm thinking about him stealing butter. I'm thinking about him stealing the clothes of the gopi. You're trying to take me away from that?
Submerged cities. Okay.
So continue with the commentary then.
Without devotion. Wait a second.
Yeah, Hari. Yeah, we'll just start it over again. The significance of meditation.
Significance of meditation is described here. Kardama Muni practiced mystic yoga meditation for 10,000 years just to please the personality of Godhead Hari. Therefore, whether one practices yoga or speculates and does research to find God.
So that refers to Jnana Yoga. Yeah. That's two yogas here. He says, therefore, whether one practices yoga, and by that here he's implying Ashtanga Yoga, or does refine God, and that's an allusion, to Jnana Yoga. Okay.
One's efforts must be mixed with the process of devotion.
Okay.
Without devotion,
so he's saying that if you want to find success and progress on the path of Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, there needs to be devotion blended into that to some degree, right? Okay. Without devotion.
Right. Without devotion, nothing can be perfect. I like that. That's a t-shirt. Without devotion, nothing can be perfect. The target of perfection and realization is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's nice. I'm going to say that again. The target of perfection and realization is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
In other words, that's what yoga is all about. You know, like sometimes I feel people blend a little bit of like the kind of thought into teachings of yoga.
What
Sometimes
thought? You cut out a second. What you cut out a second?
Like new age kind of thought, you know, like just that could come from any source.
Just like still the mind.
In any way. Well, yeah, I mean, still in the mind is cool, but you know, it said again, the target of perfection is the Supreme Personality of God. There's a focus, right? There's a very clear focus that these yogis understood, and sometimes just like kind of blend in anything to it, and
well, what's happened is Krishna is Yogeshwar. He created the yoga system. It all coming from India. It all talks about the avatars of Vishnu. It's there in all the books. It's Krishna's party. It's like we had a party at Krishna's house, but we didn't invite Krishna. That's what's going on in the yoga system. You're not allowed to talk about Krishna. You're not allowed to say meditate on Lord Vishnu. We're having a party using all the. Imagine if I went to Kelly Skinner's house and said, "Hey, okay, party at Kelly's house. Where's Kelly? Oh, I don't know. She doesn't know about it. Just eat everything out of her stuff. Take all of her resources, and then just leave the place a mess. That's what we're doing on this planet."
That's true. And that's so therefore Prabhupada saying he's going to give a reference here, the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He's going to tell us what it says there, and so he's showing where all these yogas, they're meant to lead somewhere. Bhakti yoga leads directly there. The other yogas are kind of gradually leading there, but they're meant to go a particular direction. So he's clarifying that, and he's going to allude to a verse here, and I want you to tell me exactly what number verse, or that's your quiz for today.
In the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
The 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is clearly said that one who constantly engages in Krishna consciousness is the topmost yogi. Come on, man. Yogi namapi sarvasham magatanantar atmanaha shradabam bhajate yomam
Same. Tamo mataha. That's the topmost yogi. Yeah, the one that's yukta, the one that's most connected. Is yogi namapi sarvesham amongst all the yogis, madgatain antar atman, the one that's connected to me, meditating me with, deep within, worshiping me with love. He says that's the topmost yogi. So that's where all the yoga is meant to go to, where you fully, with divine love, connect to that very root of our existence. I was speaking with Simon Haas because, like I said, he's like a real scholar. He's read books that like I've never read before. He knows Sanskrit. I don't know Sanskrit. And
books I've never read before.
Yeah. Why? What are you laughing about?
It's funny because he's a real scholar. He's read books I've never read before.
Well, in other words, he's got the skills and the tools.
So is my mom. My mom's read books I've never read.
Well, this is my point. Books about the same yoga philosophy that I'm talking about every day, right? Like in other words, he's read the works of Shankaracharya. I've never read those, but I talk about them a lot, but I've never actually read them because I don't know Sanskrit.
Talk about them a lot.
And because I'm not really a scholar.
Right.
But the point is, this is the point that he wanted to make, is that in yoga studios and so on, people are attracted to Shankar's teachings, of non-dualism, right? That it's all one in the end. But they don't really know like all that involved. If they really knew, you see, there's something called like Vedanta, which is like, which in half of Vedanta was like Shankar's teachings, right? That like ultimately we're all God. There's no you and me. It's all one in the end.
Well, that was a beautiful way to deal with our, one of the ladies in class yesterday was like, I'm a recovering Catholic. All this stuff about God is freaking me out. So yeah, if you grew up in a universe where not all I feel like I had a good relationship, healthy relationship with God, but there is this thing where God is.
How did God feel about the relationship?
Huh? How did
How did God feel? How did God feel about the relationship?
God
feel
felt
it was a healthy relationship.
I thought it was
I'm not sure
good.
how God felt
And God
about it.
divorced me.
It was a great relationship. What happened?
I thought we were connected. No, but some people feel like, oh, I can't get into God. God is like shaming. God is like violent. God is, Mara, help me. Anyway, we feel like
The judge.
the judge. God is Judge Judy, right? They feel like that. But the fact is, and so when they hear a thing like, well, you know, God, there is God, but you are God and she is God. We are God and everything is God. And it's like, okay, yeah, okay. I can take that. This is
So
different.
there's
God
something
is
about
love. We are love. You are love. And that sounds better.
Okay, well, now stop right there. That's the point. I want to stop
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Because there's a truth in everything you said up to that point. Like, in other words, we are the energy of God. We're not God. We're the energy of God. Now, that's a significant point that needs to be without understanding that, you get the entire equation wrong. But when they say God is love, you see, that Shankar never said that, right? Like Shankaracharya, that, as a matter of fact, if you want to follow that philosophy of oneness, you know, coming from Shankaracharya and handed down throughout the you know,
His
Hinduism.
lineage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Hinduism, he says that love is an illusion, right? That even two entities is illusion. Like any separation is illusion. Love has to be abandoned as something, you know, it's something that you give up. That all conceptions of love are foreign to the true nature of the soul. Whereas in bhakti, in what you call bhakti Vedanta, right? The idea is no. Love is actually it's actually like an essential quality of who you are and your connection to God, who is one with you but also different from you. That's where the original love, you know, that's the original love that you need to restore. And when you restore that connection, then you feel genuine love for every living being. So if you're interested in love, you're not interested in Shankar's teachings and all that, which are just going to tell you that love is an illusion. It's meant to be given up. And then you think, you know, well, why are we all wandering around this world looking for love constantly? It's because it's our nature, right? It's invested right in us. It's important, right?
Love is an illusion. That's our takeaway for today.
No,
There is
we're
no
saying
love.
that it's not an illusion. We're saying that it's an intrinsic quality of the soul. Intrinsic. It's in there. It's dormant. It's waiting to be awakened. And how is it waiting? You know, this is really important and really fundamental, you know, to like our philosophy of bhakti. This is a verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, from the Madhya Lila. You know, this is Sri Chaitanya teaching Sanatana Goswami, all like the basics of bhakti yoga. But he says Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, right? Nitya Siddha means eternally established. Krishna Prema, love for God, right? And he says Sadhya Kabunaya. It's not something that you gain from outside at some other point in time, right? It's in you. That prema, Krishna Prema, love for God is part of who you are. It's inseparable from you.
like
It's
that.
the nature of the soul, right? And then the next line is Shravanadi. Shravana means
Hearing.
hearing these texts about, you know, Bhagavatam especially. And Adi means Shravanadi.
First.
So beginning with Shravana, beginning with hearing, but that implies chanting and all the other processes of devotional service, right?
Sanskrit glossary goody, Mara. Put that on the board. Shravana, hearing.
Adi.
Adi, first.
Beginning with, yeah. So it says Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte, that by doing that, the chitta, the heart, or you could say the mind or the heart, it becomes purified. And then Karya Udaya, that it'll awaken, then that Krishna Prema, that love awakens. So this is how bhakti works. It's saying that love isn't an illusion. That's what Shankar says, right? It's saying that love is actually the nature of our soul, and that by the practices of bhakti, like hearing Bhagavatam, chanting these mantras, and so on, it awakens in the heart. You know, it will arise. It's already there, and it'll arise.
That's great.
All right.
Love is in the air.
That's great. Good.
Love is in the air.
Okay. Want to continue with this? Where were we?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Bhagavad Gita 6th
the-
chapter,
Yeah.
topmost yogi. The personality of Godhead, Hari, also fulfills desires of his surrendered devotee. Right there.
Krishna consciousness.
What were you doing? Like you were just like on Amazon, like while I was talking or something.
Shopping.
What did you buy while I was speaking?
New glasses. I kneeled on my Stanley Tucci glasses and crushed them yesterday.
How many pairs of glasses do you go through in a year?
Thousands, hundreds and thousands
People don't know.
dollars I give to the bifocal industry.
People don't know that, like, before we became Wisdom of the Sages and we were Super Soul Sacred Sangha and we went like public, you know, like Raghunath made, he kind of like stepped up his game when we became Wisdom of the Sages, and he stopped wearing broken glasses, right?
Yes. Everybody remembers. If you remember before the show happened, I was like, they had to have an intervention with me. Or like, Raghunath, you got to stop wearing. I'd have like one eye lens. What happened to your lens? I kneeled on it and it's like broken arms. Oh my God. It was a thing. Okay, let's continue on, please. We don't have much time here.
So the personality of Godhead, Hari.
Personality of Godhead, Hari, Krishna. Devotional service or engagement in Krishna consciousness is the direct method, and all the methods, all the recommended, are indirect. In this age of Kali, the direct method is especially more feasible. It's feasible than the indirect because people are short-lived.
There you go.
Their intelligence is poor. And they're poverty-stricken and embarrassed by so many miserable disturbances. You know, I tell you, we were having this kirtan on this gazebo on the bay yesterday, and I was seeing everybody just dancing in ecstatic joy, and I was thinking, yeah, this is the method of self-realization. It's so simple. Everybody's in bliss. They're out of their body. They're gonna go home, and you know, we go home, we eat whatever we're not regulated in so many ways. You know, we can't follow all the Vedic principles for like really sophisticated meditation, but you can dance and you can sing and you feel like you want to. Your body.
You can leave the world behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if your friends don't dance?
And if they don't dance, they're no friends of mine.
They're still friends of mine. But let's maybe we could wind up with this one point. Here's, it almost sounds like a sectarian statement that Prabhupada's making. He's saying
it does sound a little extreme.
Does it have a little? Does it? Do you feel it reeks of?
It reeks of a little like, we got it, you don't got it.
But that's not what's happening.
It's saying that all those things are beneficial.
Yeah, but understand, it's not like one group against another. It's all coming from the same source, all this information, right? And it's all being validated. So he's saying there's Ashtanga yoga, there's Jnana yoga, there's Karma yoga, there's Bhakti yoga. He's saying Bhakti yoga is a direct method. Direct to what? Direct to the end. The end of all of these yogas is to fall in love with God, or you could say to reconnect with God. But Bhakti's doing that directly. And whereas, like, for instance, in Ashtanga yoga, all of these yogas are cultivating internal renunciation. You need to let go of all your attachments to this material world so that you can reconnect with the spiritual. And in Ashtanga yoga, it cultivates internal renunciation through external renunciation. You walk away from society, you go off to the forest, you sit very quietly, you take your mind away from everything, you keep bringing it back. It's a very difficult process. But the idea is, if I could entirely still my mind, then I could connect it with God. So let me work this whole process to still the mind. And then in Jnana yoga, the idea is, I have so many attachments in my mind. Let me, again, cultivate internal renunciation through external renunciation. Again, leaving the world behind and doing all these practices, trying to break every attachment that I have in my mind through this kind of like cold, stark analysis. And then when I've broken everything, all my attachments in the mind, bahunam janmana ante, it may take many lifetimes. Jnanavan, when I finally achieve jnana and I have no more material attachments, mam prapadyante, I surrender to God, I reconnect with God. But in Bhakti yoga, the idea is, I'm going to start meditating on God right from the beginning. It's direct. You understand? So the internal renunciation in Bhakti yoga isn't necessarily through external renunciation, like leaving the world behind, but the idea is the external renunciation comes as a byproduct of my cultivation and devotion.
I like
when I start to fall in love with God, when just like Raghu, he gets on here, he's talking about little Krishna. He's stealing butter. He's he's leaving little butter footprints all over the place.
butter
right?
footprints.
And
Stealing the
and
gopi's
so
clothing.
he's stealing the gopi's clothing. And so when he thinks about Krishna, he becomes attracted to that. And then he's thinking, I want to read Bhagavatam rather than watch Netflix tonight. And so like the external renunciation comes automatically as a byproduct of his internal connection. So that's how bhakti works. Internal renunciation develops as a byproduct of the cultivation of devotion directly, not indirectly, but directly.
Sweet
So
baby
therefore,
Krishna
it's-
tomorrow night, by the way. Sweet baby Krishna, Mara.
tomorrow night. What time? 7 p.m. Eastern.
What time,
8?
Mara? 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30.
Okay, so just to wrap up this point, again, in Ashtanga Yoga, you'd be doing this indirect process to settle the mind and then ultimately connecting it through bhakti. In Jnana Yoga, same thing. You would be breaking all the attachments, practicing external renunciation, and then when you've got to a certain point, very difficult to get there, then you would begin to engage the mind in connection with God. In Bhakti Yoga, is different because the means and the end are the same. You're doing the same. You don't do asana when you've achieved the goal of yoga. It's a means to an end. You don't do the analysis and the practices of Jnana Yoga when you've achieved the full goal of yoga. You let them go because they were steps up a ladder to something, and then you leave it behind. But in Bhakti Yoga, the very same things that you do to get to there are what you do when you get there. Hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna. It's the most holistic path. It's the most direct path. It's not saying the others are bad. It's just saying they're indirect, whereas this is going right direct to the source. And it's not a sectarian thing. It's just a practical thing. It's all coming from the same place. It's all in one
It's all
sense.
coming from the same
one
place.
sect.
We've just culturally appropriated it and cut Krishna from the party. Krishna's
Krishna
invited
out.
to the party, people. Come
Don't cut
on, it's
Krishna
his
out of the
place.
party. Yeah. All right.
All right,
And
we
with
got any
that,
takeaways, Miss Mara?
Yes, we do.
Miss
Uh,
Mara?
Transformation is an option. Turn
it's
your
a pretty
entire
important option.
yeah.
What?
Turn turn your
It's an option. Like you can take it or leave it. You don't have to transform if you don't want to. But it's an
It's
option.
an option.
turn your entire day into yoga.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Without devotion, nothing can be perfect.
Yeah.
That was said. That
Yeah.
was said.
It's Krishna's party.
Don't cut him out.
Don't
cut him out.
invite Krishna to his party. It's his stuff. It's his house. It's his home. It's his resources. Please.
Anything else?
Restore our original intrinsic love.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Blend devotion in everything.
Yeah. Stay away from Dunkin' Donuts.
Stay away from Dunkin' Donuts.
That might be our most important one for today.
Yeah. Don't drink Dunkin' Donuts.
All right.
Well, all righty. Well, thank you. Sweet Baby Krishna tomorrow at 8:30. Hope to see you there. If you want to join Sweet Baby Krishna, become a Patreon member. Patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages. That's how we keep this boat floating. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Everybody hung out with me this weekend in Long Beach Island. It was fun. It was wonderful. Next week, I'm in Bhakti Stock in Vermont. Check that out, bhaktistock.com, like Woodstock, except we're all into Bhakti.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
We got
And then
two
we're off to
Bhakti
Italy the
recovery
following
meetings.
Huh?
Two Bhakti recovery group meetings. Two Bhakti recovery group meetings today. One at 1 p.m. and one at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. It's a late night thing.
All righty. Late night. Yeah. That's good. Thanks for all the Zoomers. Thanks for all. What did I call the other Zoomers? You never see their face? Picture face Zoomers? Is that what I called them, Mara? It was a good name.
Photo face.
Photo face. Photo face Zoomers. Thanks to all the photo face Zoomers that were here peering in. Papa Tony was a photo face Zoomer today, Mara.
Yeah, I saw that.
And of course, thank you for live. Check out the live. Come on, dance, people. See what's going on here.